We are. Welcome in, everyone. Fantasy Farm Sports. I am Jack Stash, your host. Today we have a very special guest. We have Liam Segarian from PSN, Philadelphia Sports Network. Liam, how are you feeling today?
Jack, an awesome Thursday. It's the MLB trade deadline in 1 minute. I get married in 2 weeks. Life's good, man. Life's good. How are you?
That's a lot of busy stuff going on, right? Because you're pretty close there in Philadelphia. I know you have your eyes on everything Phillies. I understand that you went to a game or two this year. What were you looking for out of Philadelphia? Like, what kind of movement were before we get into our headline today? What were you looking for from the Phillies?
Well, they needed the bat, preferably a right-handed bat who could give you some pop, and they needed some help with the bullpen. And for a while, they've always been piecemealing the bullpen. Well, getting someone like Duran from the huge move. Somebody who throws a 97-mile-an-hour sweeper, one of the best handful of pitches, individual pitches in the entire sport. I'm very excited to bring him in, even though the bullpen under him still has its flaws. I think the 6, 7, 8, 9 that you have with Matt Strom, Ryan Kerkering, and then Alvarado gets to come back in late August and be available for the first season, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And now we have now we have Durant. So I'm excited about that. But they needed the bat. They traded for Harrison Bader, which is fine, but it's not a needle mover. And they didn't do it. They didn't get the power bat like Eugenio Suarez. They didn't get the contact difference making bat like Stephen Kwan.
So hold on, just real pause. You got Bader from Minnesota, right?
We got Bader and Durant from Minnesota in different deals.
All right, so I know a little bit about Bader, and that kid is an absolute spark plug. And I think that he's not the greatest bat, but in baseball, like many sports, you try to get ahead of what the player's going to become. And I think that, Bader's just had a tough year, and he's been coming on a little bit later. I think the kid in the seventh spot in your lineup could add a little bit. I don't know what else he's an outfielder, obviously, and he's a tool. But I think you underestimate him a little bit.
Well, I think they'll probably slide in somewhere in the sixth spot on the lineup. The issue is with your top three being Turner, Schwarber, and Harper, you're putting someone very inconsistent in the cleanup spot behind Harper, and that's when pitchers get to throw around him and not give him pitches to hit in the playoffs, knowing that Alec Bohm and Nick Castellanos and JT Realmuto has been better lately, but you don't have a solid bat that can protect Harper in those lineups. Like if you had gotten one of those other guys, you slot them in somewhere one or two, and then Harper can be three. You move Schwarber to clean up. That would have been very enticing.
I like the Phillies. I grew up, up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and but I've been a big fan of the Athletics this year. Once upon a time, I don't know if you knew this, they were merged. Not quite the same teams in the same area, but it was once upon a time the Philadelphia Athletics. So yes. I can live with that. I'm a big Nick Kurtz fan. He's straight out of Lancaster, the big Amish they're calling him. What's interesting is with him and Lawrence Butler, right? Lawrence Butler leads off. They have Rooker in there, and they have Kurtz in there, right? That's their big collective. But because of what happened with Kurtz last week, the 6 for 6, 4 home runs in a game, he can't see a pitch now, right? And Lawrence Butler's still getting some good pitches. Everything that Kurtz was getting, Rooker is now getting. And they think they're getting a break in the sixth slot, these pitchers, by having to go up against Soderstrom, who can play. Right, so what's interesting is that if Philadelphia can build, I think what they're doing with Bader is trying to build the backside of that lineup. Now you got a problem because the A's last night beat Seattle with their 7, 8, 9 guys all night long. I mean, they had Rooker hit a home run, and everybody from him on had a monster game. Kurtz and Butler couldn't get a pitch.
It's and that's even for a team that's underperforming. So when you get to the playoffs, I mean, like without one of these last minute moves trickling in for the Bills, I just don't really know how the offense is going to be good enough to make it through the pitching staff of the Padres and the overall talent depth that the Dodgers have. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, I mean, like, in winning the division is no guarantee. So I mean, like, it's going to be a slog. I don't think they did as much as they could have and should have done.
If they were to do anything, it would have been to do what the Padres did. Quietly, the Padres made one move. The Padres signed Miller from the Athletics, the guy who's the closer who throws a 102-mile-an-hour fastball and an 80.
Gave up a lot for him. Padres made a lot of them.
Yeah, but that dude, I'm telling you, man, he closes games. It's over. Like he takes the mound.
Unbelievable. They gave him a lot.
He's unbelievable, and the Athletic just let him walk. They got a pick or two, and they got some compensation. But this is a team that is preparing to move to Vegas. They just swept Houston. They just beat Seattle in a series. They're going into Washington. If they sweep Washington, all of a sudden they're 7 games out of first, right? And you just beat the 2 first place clubs, and you're staring right down the wild card. And they went, oh, see, goodbye. We don't need a closer. I mean, come on, man. And it's moments like this that's heartbreaking for fans. I'm talking the Pirates fans now because they do it to them every year. It's heartbreaking to the fans because you put in all this time and your heart and your soul into watching the team, and then they just trade away your favorite player or a player that could really help push towards the end. Or in the Phillies' case, they didn't do enough.
Sure feels that way. Very, very sad.
I don't mean to laugh, but it sure feels that way. Very, very sad.
Man, I'm sitting here, despair, doomed, waiting for something to happen. It won't.
Now they'll just have to win games 9-6 like they always do. No,
It just feels unacceptable.
nah, it's good. All right, let's shift gears to talking about a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean, that's what happened, right? Like regardless of statistics, regardless of anything else that happened with the season, Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl. He outperformed Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, in both of their appearances against each other in the Super Bowl. But regardless, is that he's taken flack now because people are saying that there are many other quarterbacks that could have won a Super Bowl with how great your general manager up there in Philadelphia has set up that franchise, and maybe it's true. And the glaring when you look at the stats, right? Because this is the time of year where you're looking at stats. You're looking at this is the beginning or the March of fantasy football drafts and fantasy football season. You know that. And somebody looked at the sheet and went, Jalen Hurts only had 19 passing touchdowns last year. I mean, he did, right? And so the word got out, or the highlight of the statistical performance got out, and people went, wow, I mean, Jesus. And now it's taken on this whole other story. I like Jalen Hurts. Him being a quiet leader does not help in this situation. Right? I wish he was a little bit more vocal and not, kind of just, lunch pail and hard worker. You got to have like a little bit of a mouth here, I think. So we're just going to go over quarterbacks that we like inside of our top 10. I know you're a Philly guy, so I know that Jalen Hurts will be in your top 10.
Right.
So let's just talk about some quarterbacks, right? Tis the season, right? There's a game tonight.
Yeah, dude, Hall of Fame game. Football's back.
Hall of Fame game.
You have your anytime touchdown scorer, Betson?
What's that?
You have your anytime touchdown scorer, Betson?
I don't. I if I were to bet on anything silly, I would bet on Brendan Rice. Maybe
something.
Maybe a Trey Lance rushing.
bet on the Hall of Fame in preseason game.
I mean, I listen. I'm a degenerate, but I'd much rather bet on tennis. I feel like I got an edge.
I love it.
All right, so here's my. I'll give you guys, and you argue, discuss, whatever. That's what we're here for. Here's my top quarterbacks, right? And
I'm ready to write it down.
dang, perfect. Ink to paper is what we need. Many moons ago, I used to discredit this guy as just a running quarterback, and just well, yeah, but mainly he runs, and that's nice. He passes the ball sometimes. Lamar Jackson's a monster. Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, not the NFL's opinion, but they don't matter on this network. The NFL deemed Josh Allen. This is true. Deemed Josh Allen the MVP. And to me, it was like payback for the one that they gave to Rodgers when he had a 44 touchdown season, because he did. That's what it feels like to me. He wasn't statistically better anywhere than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's the best statistical performance by a quarterback in the history of the game. Ever. Period. End of story. Right? And let's add the 3,900 yards that he had passing. And then we'll add in the 900 he had rushing. I don't know how you play better to get another trophy to stick on your mantle. I just don't know. And people go, well, he had Derrick Henry. Well, okay, well, name me a wide receiver that he had that's like, great. Nobody thinks he is a great wide receiver. I understand Flowers is fine. Bateman is fine. Mark Andrews was playing on one leg last year. Lamar Jackson did a lot of what Josh Allen did with the same kind of tools, right?
Right.
Only better. So I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson 1. That's where I have to live. I gotta live with Lamar Jackson at 1. Next on my list, I am gonna go with Josh Allen. I'm gonna go with Josh Allen over Joe Burrow, because when Joe Burrow has, and he has since he's entered the NFL, when Joe Burrow has all the tools at his disposal, he's a great quarterback. Right? But when you got to go play backyard stickball, I kind of want Josh Allen, and I think he could do both of those things very well. So I'll go with Josh Allen next. That being said, I'm going to go with, at my 3 spot, I'll go with Joe Burrow. How are you feeling so far? Very angry?
I'm thinking that you forgot a guy. Is he like number 0, like somewhere above the number 1 spot? Like, where is Patrick Mahomes into this conversation?
Well, Patrick Mahomes last season finished the 16th best passer in the league. The season before that, he finished 12th. The season before that, he finished 8th. The season before that, he was top for like 3 years. So all he's done since his Super Bowls is regress.
You mean regress into winning 2 Super Bowls?
Won the 2. Listen, he won the 2 Super Bowls, but he hasn't made to me, he's not top of the mantle right now. I understand Super Bowls, and I'm giving statistics, but if you continue to descend, I mean, we don't agree that he looks great last year. There are Kansas City radio hosts calling for his head because he's 20 pounds overweight coming into camp. And as a receiver or a running back, I'm referring to Fat Lenny. You can run yourself into shape. Well, the quarterback doesn't run. So I think, to me, just a little bit, Patrick Mahomes has become comfortable. Almost like a prize fighter that's won a lot. And he's not necessarily, to me, the top guy. With that being said, I will put him at 4.
Okay.
I'll put him at 4. But last year wasn't pretty. And I think we agree that he got bailed out in circumstances in areas last year. He just got bailed out.
I think you can say that about basically any quarterback.
You can, but his were egregious. Egregious, right? His were like, boy, you're living on your name a little bit. So I got Patrick Mahomes at 4. God, what do we want to do with 5? I'll bring you in here. What do you like at 5? Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose.
Well, this is your top 10.
I know, but I'm allowing you to come in a little bit because there's a lot of names that could be floated around. Like, there are talents, but they haven't really made it all the way there. All right, 5 right now to me, and it's based on 1 year. But boy, that year was just special. I'd have to put Jaden Daniels there because I can't see it changing. He's gonna play like this effortlessly, like this forever, 10 years, 12 years. I gotta put Jaden Daniels there. Do you like that or not so much? Too early?
I'm fine with it. I have him at 6.
You have him where? You have him there?
I have him at 6.
All right, so I have him at 5, right? Next up on the list. God, I want to put him. I want to put him there, but like it's kind of a little bit tough. But he's not the greatest division, and I think he's going to keep on getting division titles. And I kind of put this player, not so much. I kind of put him in like the McNabb area. Like McNabb was a great quarterback, right? And you can't, but you know, he never really got the credit that he should, and maybe this guy won't either. But I kind of love C.J. Stroud here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Baker the way you were reading that.
No, because you know what? I watched Stroud in his rookie season walk into Jacksonville and tell Trevor Lawrence to go sit down. I watched Stroud walk into a Todd Bowles-led defense and score a touchdown with 30 seconds. Like, he does have that thing where he made Nico Collins. You know, like, as a great quarterback, my opinion is you have to be able to make your receivers. And I just think that Stroud has a special gift there. So is that Stroud at 7 or 6?
I like it.
Is that Stroud? That's 6, right?
That would be 6.
That'd be 6. Now I'll put Baker Mayfield at 7. I feel like that's a fair statistical spot for him. He's not the most athletic. He is the most passionate. He finds an extra gear to get his team playing when they're a bit flat. Body on the line, bowls over Bobby Wagner in the playoffs. That's impressive. There's at least 2 plays a game, whether they go good or they go poorly. We're like, wow, what the hell did he do? Okay, he did that. That's fine. It could be an interception, and then he tries to tackle somebody he shouldn't. It could be some stiff arming Joey. Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, is so good. He made Tom Brady a good commentator. Tom Brady was sitting like this every week, week in, week out. Hi, I'm Tom Brady. Welcome to the NFL. And you know, Bob, and he started rating quarterbacks and all this other. It was the first time ever when Mayfield stiff-armed Bosa, threw it on 4th and 6, got the first down, Tom Brady went, oh my God! I went, hey, look at that. There's a person in there that actually can, hang out and talk like the guys. He was this close saying, holy shit. He was right there. And we was on the call, he went, holy shit, and he backed right out of it. Baker Mayfield, over the past 2 seasons, fun stat for you, has the most passing touchdowns of any quarterback in the NFL. Find yourself in a good situation, and you'll succeed. He came from, obviously, he was a journeyman for a second, but, when he was in Cleveland, he had to deal with their issues. I mean, they just had their general manager come out the other day and was like, yeah, sure, Sanders? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, but you drafted him. What do you think about the kid? He goes, oh, I didn't draft him. Why would you say that? Jerry Jones wouldn't say that. Like, Haslam is the worst general manager in all of sports.
Might be.
He's starting to balance on it. Do you know he sits on the board? I don't know he sits on the board of Tennessee, right? And he didn't give any credence, no direction to draft Alvin Kamara. Nope. Could have got him in the 4th round. Nothing. So we got Baker at what? We got Baker at 7. Nobody likes him. Let's just say this, because it's true. Nobody likes Dak Prescott. They really don't. Nobody likes Dak Prescott. He deals with the media well. He deals with Jerry Jones well. I think that he's what 30-10 at almost every season, except for when he gets totally banged up. He makes one mistake a game that looks really, really bad, but he throws 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's a great quarterback. He takes a lot more extra heat than he should because he's in Dallas, but he handles it. I mean, same size, same weight as the guy I mentioned earlier, McNabb, and he's even doing Campbell's soup commercials. I'll put him at 8. I like Prescott. You know, there could have been a bunch of times where he could have just flew off the handle and did not. I like Prescott. Fair. Give me after Prescott. Am I doing? How am I doing? You got me rated pretty higher or what?
I'm internalizing.
Am I forgetting people? Let me get to my list here because I'm flying blind. I'm just kind of looking at the situation here. I know people love him, but I don't love him. People love Jared Goff.
Well, what about Stafford?
I love Stafford. But we're talking about now. I have a sneaky suspicion that you're only going to see 8 games out of Matt Stafford this year.
All right. Well, that's not good because the Rams are probably one of the 3 that can win the NFC. Stafford's only playing 8 games. They're not going to be one of those teams.
Well, here's what's a little interesting, right? Sean McVay is always great at manufacturing different things, right? And it's something sneaked up my back, right? And I read something the other day and I went, oh, that's something. And you might not think it's something, but Matt Stafford's back is sore. Nobody cares. Oh, well, he'll be fine for the regular season. Oh, yeah? Yeah, well, they're interviewing Devontae Adams about his relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo. Why? What do I care about Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, you're going to care because Jimmy's going to see playing time. I just think that back is going to be a problem. And as you get older, you know that back, I mean, you could wake up one day and go, geez, 2-3 weeks. And then it goes 4 weeks. And then it goes 5 weeks. And then he comes back, but he's a little rusty. I love Stafford, but you get my point. We have to go with now. I'll go with Jordan Love. I'll go with Jordan Love. I really love Jordan Love at this point. At 9. I think that he's going to be good. Right, the headline you'll read in Green Bay this year all season is Love is Golden, right? Because they drafted that Golden out of Texas. I think he's going to... They've been trying to do it with Watson. They've been trying to do it with Dobbs. It's been duct tape for years, right? And you're just at the point where you're like, brother, draft a top 10 guy for him so he could sling it. Like, just help the guy out. I think it's Jordan Love. And then 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 is pretty tough. You know, I don't know why I would even say this, but I think he has more defined weapons. I think I would go with Trevor Lawrence. I think he has more weapons. I think Jacksonville, to me, by the way, I don't know if you've ever been to Jacksonville. You would love Jacksonville. It's just like Philadelphia. When we drove south, we went over the bridge and I went, this town kind of looks like Philly a little bit. And so does the team a little bit, right? Brian Thomas Jr. reminds you of A.J. Brown. Big, tall, strong target, right? Devonta Smith, I believe Travis Hunter's the real deal. I think he's going to play wide receiver. I've been reading a lot of reports lately about how everybody wanted, if Travis Hunter was just strictly wide receiver and he didn't want to do the cornerback thing as well, there was no clearer talent than him coming out if he just wanted to do that. So I think that for me, I think Lawrence is better than Herbert. To me, Herbert folds every time I'm a Bucks guy and a Mayfield guy. And when they traveled last year, I went, they just won 2 in a row. They're going to lose this one, and then you start marking games off, right? And they went down 7-0, and then it was 7-7, then 14-7, then 20. It was 24-7 at halftime. And I was like, are you going to defend your home area? That's my 10. And I think at 11, I would probably put Jalen Hurts. Because despite the knock on him, I think when he needs to get on the gas pedal, he can. I.e. the Super Bowls. I think if you really needed him to sling it 50 times or find a way to do some different things and really put up monster statistics, I'd put him at 10 and maybe insane, but I put him at 11 and then 12 I think Bo Nix and then Herbert. I think Nix is going to outplay Herbert this year.
I'm not a Bo Nix guy. Yeah.
What's up?
So I'm not a Bo Nix. I'm not a full Bo Nix believer. I do love Sean Payton, and I like the Broncos infrastructure a lot. I think the defense is really good. And I think the Broncos are going to be good, but I kind of think we're looking at the physical ceiling of Bo Nix. Like, right, he's an older prospect. He was one of the older rookie quarterbacks in recent memory. There's not a lot of room for his physical upside to grow. It's really just about how he throws and takes command of a very complicated Sean Payton system. And by all accounts, I think he's going to be able to do that. I don't think that he lacks football IQ. But the top end ability that I've seen from him, I'm not sure how much more that can uptick as he enters his prime pretty early compared to other quarterbacks. And I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to really overcome a division that's going to be led by Patrick Mahomes, at least for the next 5 years.
I'm with you. I changed. I was whatever, man. Great, Sean Payton. You took a guy and you think you could do this, that, and the other thing with him. And there was a moment last year. It was Monday Night Football. It was Monday Night Football. It was Broncos Bengals, and I was like, "You're gonna get an education tonight, kid," because Burrow can absolutely manipulate all these different areas. And I right away, Bengals 7-0, quick. And I was like, well, here we go, off to the races. And Bo Nix threw an absolute perfect ball, 55 yards. I mean, dude, the guy was in stride. It was like the Hurts to Devonta Smith in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's gonna be on somebody's wall somewhere. That's how great it was. I mean, you blinked, you were like, wow, he didn't even bang, touchdown, game, kick the field goal. Nix threw that same type of ball, and I went, oh. He didn't blink. He didn't get worried. Like, Sean Payton knows he's got some thing. And I think the thing is in the big moments, Nix is not going to sit down. He's not going to shy away. I think he has, if you put him and Herbert in an alleyway, yeah, Herbert's bigger and stronger. Nix would find a way to punch his face in. I don't know why. It's just him and Payton kind of have that going. To me, that relationship feels a little bit like a Parcells Bledsoe, like a Belichick Brady. And I'm not saying it's ever going to go that far, but doesn't it feel like those two are? And if you took Nix and put him over, like, it's almost like if you had Purdy without Shanahan, right? If you put him over, if you gave Bo Nix Todd Bowles, forget it, right? Because Todd Bowles likes running the defense, and Mayfield likes having beers with the boys, and that works. Right. But Nix and Payton works, and I just think it probably works better than a lot of other combinations. The combinations obviously do help, right?
Sure.
So I'm interested. I got to hear your top 10. How badly did I do? I didn't crush Hurts.
No. So, I honestly, I've kind of gotten numb to the Jalen Hurts conversation because I don't think there's any real definitive way to look at quarterbacks. So I've tried to put what I think is the three most important evaluating factors for me in assessing quarterbacks, and I tried to put them fairly into those buckets and then take the average and kind of weight certain things as far as previous accomplishments as over potential accomplishments since they haven't happened yet.
Okay.
And yeah, I came up with the overall list. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think that Jalen Hurts is the most talented quarterback in football. I don't. I have Hurts actually eighth in talent, and I could honestly have him even lower than that. I have Stroud and Love and Dak all below Hurts in terms of talent, and I think that Stroud and Love could easily be put above Hurts in the talent bucket without me really having to or without much of an argument for me. And I know that winning or your what's a better way? Your cold bloodedness, say, in time, your ability to kind of slow your heart rate and be the same guy at the biggest moments is much more tangible, and your physical talents are obviously tangible. But it has to count for something that Jalen Hurts moments come when so many of the more talented quarterbacks, per se, wilter and walk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So,
I think that, yeah, you're right. I mean, when the lights are brightest, the concern, I guess, is without the collective, would he be able to get you there on his own, or with lesser talents?
well, I mean, like once now that he's at the level that he's at, we're not going to know unless that situation ever comes about. But like, I don't remember people knocking Mahomes for having the best deep threat ever and the best tight end ever in his whole run either, and that best tight end for the three. Josh and Lamar hadn't gotten there, but Burrow gets there with what at the time was the best wide receiver duo in football, right? So Jaden Daniels has the number one wide receiver that just got ranked with the third or fourth best wide receiver in Madden. Excuse me, but still, Terry McLaurin above AJ Brown. I'll tell you what, Terry McLaurin is not better than AJ Brown. But if Madden wants to tell you that he is, it only helps Jalen Hurts' agenda. And if Dak ever gets over the hump, he has a bona fide number one wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. If Baker ever gets over that hump, he has statistically the greatest start to a season or start to a career by 1,000-yard seasons by a receiver ever. That's ongoing, and it feels like Mike Evans is 2 years old. So none of these guys are alone, and the guys who are quote unquote alone aren't getting it done. So I can't really think of the last time that one of these quarterbacks raised the trophy without one of these dudes.
Well,
you know
so
what I mean?
the I guess the trade off here, right, is yeah, no quarterback is without help. Right? You obviously need, a running back, you need offensive line. No, but I think what happened is because we're in this window here of looking at last year. Now, obviously, there's a big sign behind me that says Fantasy Farm Sports. I do fantasy football player evaluation scouting. That's what I'm into. Okay, and I know this is exactly what happened. Everybody's looking for a story because football hasn't started. It starts tonight. But instead of finding something else to write about or something else to cover, there was a guy who just hit 6 for 6 a couple nights ago and 4 home runs, possibly the greatest baseball game ever. Instead of finding something else to write about, they went, Jalen Hurts had a great year last year because he won the Super Bowl, but he only threw for 19 touchdowns. And so it became, I think a lot of it was somebody brought it to Cam Newton's desk. And I love Cam Newton. And I love how he brought it up. I do appreciate him adding a little bit of light to it. He didn't say Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He didn't knock Jalen Hurts. He just started going, this team is so talented that I kind of believe that you could, really, we talk about, we give hell all the time Trent Dilfer. He would have never. Trent Dilfer was a real deal quarterback put in front of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the line laid down and he got crushed and almost out of the league. Then he bounced around, obviously found Baltimore, but when Trent Dilfer was drafted, he was drafted with a top 10 arm. Like, that guy was a real deal quarterback, but because he had that Ravens defense, they just go, well, he didn't really, and Trent Dilfer's this, and whatever you want to say. And I think Trent Dilfer, that's what we're trying to do with Jalen Hurts. Look, do I think that Cam Newton had more on his shoulders in Carolina? Yeah, I do. I think he had to keep Kelvin Benjamin away from the buffets, and that didn't work. Then he got injured. Then he had this. Then he had that happen. Yeah, he had a 15-1 season for which he didn't finish off in a Super Bowl. But by that point, he was going up against the best defense on the planet with Von Miller, who's on another planet. And I think that going 15-1 and having to lay all of that burden on your shoulders, he was gassed, 100%. I do think the talent of Cam Newton is far greater than Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, Ryan Clark went after him, talking about because Ryan Clark's a clown. And if you listen to what Cam Newton said, he never attacked the man. He just kind of started giving you statistical differences. And now it's kind of spun out of control. And that's why we're talking about it.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. So, all right. So, your top 10.
All right, so I kind of just went over the talent bucket in a broad sense, and I also have the accomplished bucket, and then what I think you will accomplish bucket,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of then just all blends into the overall bucket.
Okay.
But Lamar with 2 MVPs and Josh with 1 MVP, but a combined 0-5 against Mahomes in their playoff career. And Josh has it. And I weighted Lamar's MVPs over Josh's 2 direct head-to-head victories over Lamar a little higher, even though Josh also has 1 MVP himself. So really that could have been changed. But playing in 2 Super Bowls, going head-to-head and neck with Mahomes in Super Bowls, actually in 1 Super Bowl and then completely outclassing him in another. Finishing second in an MVP vote that he would have won if he hadn't gotten injured. I think Hurts has a very good claim to the second position in the accomplished bucket. And now, like, you could say, oh, well, Stafford's kind of the same thing, longer career there, up goal, very arm top thing. And I think what that comes down to, like, not only to your point of like, you got to think about the now with Stafford and how he's at the last few years of his career, and how that doesn't really like deter what he's accomplished, but it does make me think that he would be nowhere close to this list had he never ended up in LA.
Yep.
So Stafford, to me, I have him 5th actually in the accomplished bucket. So my accomplished bucket is Mahomes, Hurts, Lamar, and Josh, which I think you could actually probably flip without much of an argument. And Stafford 5th in the accomplished bucket, followed by Burrow at 6th. And then not many other quarterbacks have accomplished much.
Yeah, I mean, so the only other quarterback that I would say that you could put in your accomplishment bucket that won't make our list
is Aaron Rodgers. Or Russ.
Brock Purdy. He's been in 2 Super Bowls.
No, he's been to 1.
All right. Been to 1 Super Bowl. Won an NFC title. Like, it's a little bit, right? A little bit of weight there. He's got playoff wins.
He does have playoff wins. Now, I guess in that sense, he has accomplished more than Dak, but I just think so much more of Dak as a quarterback. I think Kyle Shanahan would be able to have Dak Prescott as his quarterback.
You know who I thought, and I just real quick because then we'll get back to your list, but I always thought that I thought that Kyle Shanahan needed to be done in San Francisco. I think that it's getting to the
He's Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Just outran the course.
yeah, it's just they told him that he can't necessarily get free spending anymore. You know what I mean by that, and they tighten the purse strings on him, and so when people start telling you what you can and you can't spend and what guys you can and cannot go out and get, it's getting there. And what I would have done is I would have just kind of made an announcement whenever, told my agent whenever. I would have loved, in his case, to go to Tennessee and get Will Levis. Like, we don't need Cam Ward. I'm going to work with Will Levis. Will Levis is way more talented than Brock Purdy. And if you give him easy answers like Brock Purdy gets in San Francisco, I mean,
I'm not sure if Will Levis' IQ is there. I'm not sure if the IQ can be taught to him.
I mean, it's screen passes. It's no hero ball. All you have to do is dial back his hero ball, and you're good.
He'll play the hero ball.
Huh?
I said he will play the hero ball.
Yeah, I know, but it's because he's got 2 seconds to throw the ball. Now he's having season-ending surgery on that shoulder, for which they pummeled into the ground.
And you know what the worst part about that is? Not that he was going to start over Cam Ward anyway. But now there's a 0% chance that we get any good Will Levis games that we got last year. 0% chance, unfortunately.
Well, that's okay. We'll get some the year after, because I got a sneaky suspicion on Will Levis. I'll give it to you. You want it real quick? I'll give it to you real quick.
Please.
Geno Smith's got a couple years left on that contract.
I knew you were going to say Raiders. I knew it. Fuck, I should have guessed.
You should have guessed. He's got a couple years left on that contract, and Tom Brady can't open his mouth without saying Will Levis. They would get him on the cheap. Tom would come in and help mentor him. He's a young kid. He was drafted a couple years probably before he should have. That shoulder's gonna get. Listen, his agent went, Will, they're leaving. They're moving on from you. Straighten yourself up, and we'll go find another situation next year. And I'm telling you, it's going to be the Vegas Raiders. And people are going to be like, wow, this guy's really good. And it's like, yeah, I know. Cleveland can't figure it out, and Cam Ward is on the IR in Tennessee. Sorry, but it's coming.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it, too. Well, let me sell his rookie card first.
You might want him to pick up the play first.
Well, I just kind of picked it up to see what I could get off of it. But, all right, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean.
All right, so my next bucket is the what I think you will accomplish bucket. And now my top 3 doesn't change there. And from everything that I've seen so far, Josh Allen is a better playoff performer than Lamar historically. So I have what I think you will accomplish as Mahomes, Josh, and Lamar in the top 3. And I have Hurts 4 and Jaden 5 on account of, do I think Jaden is more likely to win MVPs? Yes. Do I think that the Eagles are more likely to continue their, let's say, it's going to be tough. I mean, you're playing them twice a year. It's not like we're early dominate the Commanders like we have in years past. But I'd say over the next 10 years, over the next 10-game regular season sample size, I think the Eagles will at least win 6, probably 7, with Hurts at the helm. I think the Eagles are more likely to raise a trophy than the Commanders are, and that would, of course, be another trophy to the Commanders' 0. So, in that regard, I weight championships over MVPs. I have Hurts at 4 and Jaden 5 there. Burrow at 6 because he has to get through those other 3 guys in the AFC, and I don't think that he has the stack up. And then I actually have Jordan Love at 7.
Ooh, I think I had Love at 7, didn't I? No, I had Baker at 7.
You had Baker at 7, but this isn't the overall bucket.
Okay, all right.
I have Love in the what I think you will bucket at 7 because I think he gives the Packers probably a 5-6 year runway of like, hey, can you put the right team around me once or twice? Let's see if we can go win.
Okay, all right. You got me. I'm listening.
All right, everything else is kind of just a jumble of all the names that we talked about previously, which gets us to the overall bucket, which talent and accomplishment are weighted over what I think you will accomplish. But with all the top 7 pretty much being the same in the first 3 buckets and all the other names being jumbled up regardless,
Okay.
I have Mahomes as the best quarterback in football. I'm a Josh Allen over Lamar guy. I think I just think that Josh and Cam Newton are the two most physically gifted quarterbacks who ever lived. I think Josh is just as an effective runner as Lamar in a different way. And if the entire Bills team was built around Josh's brutality as a runner, he could be just as effective yards wise, touchdown wise, score wise. I think they're both very good throwers, but I think Josh is a better thrower with a stronger arm. I think he's more physically imposing, and he's 2-0 against Lamar in the playoffs. I
Hmm.
know he's 0-4 against Mahomes. Lamar's only played Mahomes once. He's 0-1. The Bills have been in 3 AFC Championship games under Allen. Is it two, three? I'm not sure. I think three. Um, Lamar's only been to one. I have Josh two, Lamar three. I can't get over the talent and like what we see in Burrow. I understand why some people are kind of quick to put him to the bottom because he's not the greatest athlete in the world. Um, and every time that he's not in the AFC Championship game, he's not even really in the playoffs at all.
Hmm.
But I think you can put Burrow on basically any team in the NFL that has marginal talent, and he's going to make the most of that situation on the offensive end. I think he wins a Super Bowl title. He was the Eagles quarterback. He was the huge quarterback the same Mahomes was. I just think that highly of him.
Okay.
So I have him at 4, and I don't really have the argument in my own bucket rankings here to have Hurts anywhere lower than 5, given what he's recently accomplished in the last 3 years, what I think the Eagles can do under his guidance in the next 3 to 5 years. So at some point, given the Eagles' success, and they've been one of the regular season dynamos now since they figured things out in the second half of 2021. They obviously played in 2 Super Bowls, put up 35 plus points in both Super Bowls. It's nothing to sneeze at.
Hmm.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, you're right.
If he were to do it one more time, even in a losing effort, he is what he's doing is becoming unassailable when you take into account football history. The fact that only 60 of those things would have been done, and he would have put together 3 of 20 performances of the 120 quarterbacks who went to the Super Bowl after next year. You know what I mean? If he were,
Yeah.
so that's where I have him. And if the Commanders, go 2-0 against the Eagles this year, and Jaden wins MVP, and Jaden beats them in the playoffs, then we're having a different story. Even if Jaden doesn't beat Hurt twice, but is contending for MVPs and wins a Super Bowl, even if it's not head to head against Hurt, we're having conversations. But I, in good faith, do not put a rookie in parentheses in my own division higher than Jalen Hurts.
Well, I just did it because I mean, first year, and it was with
It
the
was a magical ride.
huh?
It was the best. It was the best rookie year I've ever seen since CJ Stroud, the year before.
Yeah, and he did it with zero defense. Stroud had some dudes on that defense, whereas Washington, if you didn't score 30, they needed more. I mean, it's just they didn't have anything to back him up.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think the Hail Mary was the start of that magical ride? And without that Hail Mary, and if the Bears had somehow gone into Week 10 with a record of 6-3, I think they were 5-3 at the time, maybe 4-3. Either way, they were above 500 when that Hail Mary happened. I feel like that's what really propelled the magic carpet ride that was the Commanders.
Do you want me to really answer what I think
know.
about that Hail Mary?
I think in the same way that I'm not like the highest. I know I'm very high on Jaden. Obviously, I have him as much as quarterback, and I didn't have Bo Nix considered my top 12. But I think that the Commanders and the Broncos are two very clear regression candidates.
The Broncos aren't. The Commanders have added talent. We also I always put it in this context. Look at it's part of the Magic Johnson brain trust. Magic Johnson collectives usually do the right thing. I don't know how he knows or how the people around him know. Washington's not going to regress. The Giants are gonna have Dable out of there by week 7. The Cowboys will be tooth and nail. I just Washington
Your
won't
boy
look.
Marty Schottenheimer.
Huh?
I said your boy Marty Schottenheimer.
Well, I think he can coach. I think that Dallas is going to be much better than last season. I think last season they gave up on everything. I think Schottenheimer is going to Brian. I think he's going to. I think he's going to surprise a lot. He's got the talent, obviously. Dak Prescott looks like he's in fighting shape. I know that stuff matters, but I do think that Dallas is going to come in and they're going to. By the way, like Dallas has 2 number 1 wide receivers. Like George Pickens is a number 1 wide receiver that is now going to get number 2 coverage. Like that, I'm telling you, that's a real problem. Another
Not a problem for the Eagles.
Another under the radar signing. They also signed, and he will be their starting running back, Javonte Williams.
I was big on Javonte Williams, but I mean, like the knee injury kind of snapped.
The knee injury wasn't great, but also Sean Payton wanted him back immediately, taking 20 carries a game, and he's like, I'm coming off an ACL, and we both know Sean Payton's half crazy. So he moved on to a different running back. I think Javonte Williams getting a little bit more time to rest. I think he'll be good behind that Dallas line. I know it's not quite the Dallas line of years past, but I don't. Denver's not going to regress, and it's because of if it felt like they got lucky, then fine. Remember back many moons ago when Stafford was in Detroit? He actually won a division title there. They actually won a division title. And they were due. He threw for 44 touchdowns, like he was on one. And then the year after, they did nothing, 6-10, something like that. And it was embarrassing how poorly they played. They fired the coach. They should have fired the players. The coach did exactly what he did the year before. He coached the game. He was a Philly coach, actually, Philly defensive coordinator.
Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, Schwartz was fine. Stafford was garbage. Calvin Johnson was garbage. The whole team was garbage. They just weren't playing well. That's a regression candidate, right? They all bailed on Schwartz. Nobody's bailing on Payton. Nobody's bailing on.
No, I agree with that.
Huh?
I agree with that.
Yeah, no one's gonna bail on. God, what's his? Help me out with Washington's head coach.
Dan Quinn.
No one's bailing. They love
Dan Quinn is no Sean Payton.
Huh?
Dan Quinn is no Sean Payton.
He's not, but nobody bails on him. They do enjoy his company.
They ride for him.
They play for him, right?
They ride for Edwards around too.
Schwartz, they did, and then they kind of hated him, and then that was that. That they kind of bailed on.
Smug.
Huh?
He's a better coordinator than head coach.
Yeah, I mean they ended up hating him. So, continue with your list.
Yeah, so I had Jaden 6. I think that the Rams have a good case and healthy, if they're healthy, to be the second best team in the NFC this year. And I think that the Rams gave the Eagles their toughest challenge in the playoffs. In the Eagles building, in elements that should have massively favored the Eagles and their running game, which I guess their running game did end up helping them win that game. Now, Hurts was good in that game. I don't want to diminish what Hurts did. But Saquon Barkley's long run through the snow before the Rams almost, initiated their comeback is what put them over. I have Stafford 7 just because I don't really have the basis of the accomplishment level to put the Herbert, Stroud, Love, Dak, Baker contingent over him. And just given what I think that the Rams can do, that's where I have Stafford slotted. I'm high on Herbert's top-end potential. I think you give him one of the 4 to 5 best, football dudes, coaches in the world, Jim Harbaugh. And I think that this is probably finally the year that he wins at least one big game. At least one.
I mean, but you know what I'm saying, though? Like, every time you're like, oh, Chargers, Chiefs, and I'm like, brother, why did you stay behind the line of scrimmage? Or why did you... Oh, but can we get back to that Washington real quick? The Commanders-Bears tip?
Yeah.
Didn't it look like theater? Didn't it feel orchestrated? I mean,
especially if you see the Bears corner talking to fans before the play gets snapped and just to run all the way over to the other side of the field, and he's the one who gives him the ball.
The amount of defensive coordinators that are like, that's not how you run that defense. Like, no one runs a defense that way.
No. Yeah.
And they're like, well, maybe it was the Bears defensive coordinator. They go, I know him personally. He doesn't coach or teach a defense that way. And I started
No.
looking further and further and further into it, and it looks like a play that they practiced on a field somewhere else. Just like whatever, Slocum
I got
Park.
news for you. I got news.
Oh, all right.
Speaking of the Commanders, are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin has requested a trade.
Dude, I gotta talk about this. Listen, first of all, let me preface this way. I don't like Mike and the Mad Dog. That dude from ESPN, I don't really like him. But he made a great point the other day. Here's what he said. He said, Terry McLaurin just got a contract a couple years ago. He's getting paid $25 million a year. That's not bad money, by the way. That's good money. It's not like they're disrespecting him and giving him 14 or 16 or 17. It's not like he's in the teens, right? He's getting real good money. And he said, I know that he's outperformed his market. But let me ask you this question. If he underperformed his market, can the team call him and go, hey, Terry, that's only $17 million. You're only as good as that one, so we need $8 million back. Can they do that? No. You play the contract you signed. Unless it's egregious. Like, I don't know. Scottie Pippen's contract after a while was egregious. Right? He was only getting like $6 million a year. He was the third best player in the NBA. He was on his 14th. That was egregious. Terry McLaurin had a fantastic year with a rookie quarterback. We didn't know it was going to look like that. Neither did he. Right? And he had, he was up there with the Jeffersons and the Chases and on the ticker at the bottom of our TVs. He was having a monster week. Do you think you're getting that same guy again this year? No, you're probably going to get a $25 million wide receiver. He's not. I like Terry McLaurin. Oh, Scary Terry. Great nickname. You're not Stephon Diggs in his prime. You're not. Very sorry. Right?
He's not.
He's not. He's not.
He's very good. Very good.
Very good. Very, very scary. But
he's not better than A.J. Brown, but Madden will tell you he is. So you know what, Madden and all you casuals out there? Terry McLaurin is the best wide receiver in the NFC East. Yes, he is. And when he gets traded, A.J. Brown finally will get his well-due earned respect.
Hey, brother, you're my Philly guy, right? What did Philly get? What did Devonta Smith get yearly?
$25 million.
Okay, because that's where I'm comparing Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin and Devonta Smith are the same talent.
My friend just said Josh Allen will love throwing to Terry. Oh, could you imagine? Oh, my God, he would be a great Bill. Oh, he would be a great Bill.
No, you know what's going to happen? You know where he's going to go? You know who's going to pay for him? You know what they'll do straight up? It's coming. It's going to be Brandon Ayuk for Terry McLaurin.
Ooh.
It's coming. Because Ayuk can't play, and San Francisco needs a guy to start the season. Terry McLaurin is the only... Brock Purdy is not going to look very Purdy without a number one. I promise you. And they will double Kittle, and Ricky Pearsall might not start the year. That hammy's bothering him. Jennings wants out. Not really, but you get the point. Right? And there's all these variables in San Francisco. And I'm going to tell you the other thing right now. Remember I told you about Stafford sore back? Well, if he only does play 8 games, you still need a guy to throw to beat that Rams team because McVay's not coming there for second place. You need a player. You can't deal with Ayuk in week 8 or 9. You know who can do that? Washington, because they have Deebo Samuel. They'll get him on some kind of wacko steroids, and they'll give him...
So you just think they're going to create Niners? You're just the East Coast Niners and team Deebo back up at the...
But with a much better quarterback.
A much better quarterback that Shanahan would have freaking died for.
That's shit. You know what? Here's the problem with Shanahan, though. He's too smug to admit that he wants a great quarterback, right? Like,
he wants Kirk Cousins. In an ideal world, he wants Kirk Cousins.
No, I know, but I'm saying like he could get Uncle Rico throwing the ball over the moon, right? He can get a Will Levis, but he would sit there and he'd go, you know, Will, it'd be great to throw it that far, but you don't need to. It's like, well, didn't you bring me in here for my strong arm? He'd be like, well, no, I really want you to learn the book. Okay, man, but I'll learn it. But just understand that I'm here to put points on the board. Shanahan's so smug, he wants you to learn every letter and how it looks in the book for which he wrote. And Brock Purdy sits there and does it because he's Mr. Irrelevant. Not anymore, but you get the point.
I do.
In
what world does Terry McLaurin get rated higher than A.J. Brown? Sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
So let's go to fantasy.
I'm
land.
okay AFCD.
Listen. The Madden ratings are fantasy, right? They're fantasy ratings. Okay, right? They're fantasy.
So
ratings.
they speak to you. This is your fault.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you some more fantasy. I'm gonna give you some more fantasy fun. Here it comes. Do you know everybody and their mother who have driven me nuts over the past couple weeks? They have Ja'Marr Chase as the #1 fantasy player off the board. Ja'Marr Chase.
I'm okay with that.
Great. But Ja'Marr Chase, here's what people do. They see his touchdowns. Oh my God, look how great he is. Okay, that's great. Here's 2 things about Ja'Marr Chase. He starts out the gate slow every year. Every single season, the first 3 games, 3 catches, 33 yards.
Well, hey, there's also there's another reason for that. That's not just Ja'Marr Chase starting off slow. His quarterback statistically always starts off slow as well.
True. And last year was the first year that Ja'Marr Chase ever finished first out of any wide receivers. Normally, he finishes in the 12 to 8 realm, fantasy-wise. The reason why he finished 1 last year is because T. Higgins was banged up all year. Why would you draft a guy at his ceiling when his best buddy was out the year before? It's going to come back. Like, A.J. Brown is a better pick than Ja'Marr Chase because we know what he looks like with Devonta Smith. 5, 6, puts up top 5, top 6 numbers. Great. But why would I...
Are you trying to lead people in your leagues astray over here? I love A.J. Brown. But given the context and nature of the Eagles' offense, you cannot really make the argument that he's a better fantasy choice than Ja'Marr Chase.
I'm not trying to lead people astray. What I told you is 100%. I want you to go digging. I'll send a shovel your way. It's 100% true. Every year, I write down stats every year with all the guys. Ja'Marr Chase finished first last year. The year before that, 12. The year before that, 8. The year before that, 9. You know what everybody loves, and my buddy's a big DK Metcalf fan. I expect a big year from DK Metcalf. But everybody believes, because of DK Metcalf's big games and his big runs, his big touchdowns, that he finishes in the top 10, top 15 every year. No, he's an 18. He's an 18 every year. And it's fine. He's flashy. He's fun. He's all these things. But at the end of the day, his finishes what happens on the TV doesn't happen consistent enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown, better than all of them because of his finishes.
I'll still take A.J. Brown over Amon-Ra St. Brown. Maybe I'm biased. Probably biased.
No, it's fine, but I'm biased. I'm biased. This will be the first year I can't keep A.J. Brown in my keeper league.
I'll keep him on my keeper team.
I couldn't.
I'll just keep him in ball games.
I couldn't because I have Bijan Robinson, so I'm going to keep Bijan Robinson. But once he goes back into the pool, listen, I wouldn't mind A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a walking 6 receptions, 75 yards, touchdown every game. Every game. Ja'Marr Chase might have 3 touchdowns in a game for 175 yards. You know what's happened next week? 4 catches for 40. I mean, how am I going to live with that?
That's a good point.
I draft Ja'Marr Chase. I end up in the bathroom standing on a cinder block. It's. Oh, that's funny. It's not funny because it happens in my house.
That's funny.
That's funny. That's good.
Watching people's fantasy peril is one of my greatest joys.
Oh, is it? Well, I'll tell you what. You'll see me screaming every Sunday about certain players.
I am stoked. Yeah, I can't wait to come on, hear you talk about fantasy players, go to the TV, and not worry about a damn thing you said.
That's every week though.
Yeah, but
All right.
this one's market relevant. I don't play fantasy.
Did you
You
finish
can't
out
play
your
this.
top 10? Did you give us the rest of your top 10?
Um, I have I had Herbert at 8. I have Stroud at 9. I have Love and Dak in my 10th spot. I didn't really decide on who I had, not 10th or 11th, but they're my combined 10th quarterback. One of them has to be 11. I have Baker
Baker
12.
didn't make it in your top 10?
Baker comes in at 12.
No, wait, they needed a win 2 seasons ago and he walked into Lambeau and beat Love by 20.
I need a little bit more. I think the thing for me with Baker as compared to the other guys is Stroud and Love have so much more growing to do. I think as quarterbacks, and I think they're more than Baker anyway. And obviously they're younger. I'm more like I'm under the condition to believe that Baker is pretty much a finished product as is, and that's a good finished product, good enough to be the 12th best quarterback in football. But I don't know how much more room Baker has to grow. I know how much more room Stroud and Love can grow. Like I said, I already think that they're more talented. Dak, I think at his best, is better than Baker's best from years of watching them. And like,
What?
do I have the numbers to back it up?
Neither does
No,
he.
but my eyes just tell me Dak's better when they're both in. And so I have Dak and Love in that 10 to 11.
Dak's best year. Dak's best year was I think he threw 37 touchdowns, and Baker's playoff record's better in Cleveland.
Is it?
Yeah.
They both have one playoff. No, Dak has 2.
Yeah.
No, does he have 1? I think he has 2.
Yeah,
Baker
Baker's got 2 in Cleveland.
They had 1 in Cleveland.
1 in Cleveland. 1 in Tampa.
Over the Eagles.
Pretty bad.
Who has Super Bowl?
No, I get that. I'm not talking about that team. I'm talking about Dak.
Who has the Super Bowl?
No. I listen. Oh,
Dak? No.
who beat that Super Bowl team in the playoffs? Same team. Same team.
Hey, they'll beat us in week 4 again when it's 107 degrees down in Tampa Bay. You know, the NFL can just do us a fucking favor and put us in Tampa in November. It'd be fine. No. It's fine. You know what? They need us. They need the Eagles to face some Tampa Bay adversity.
Maybe maybe Love's and Dak's. Well, Dak isn't. Maybe Love's. You can argue that Love's arm strength and his athletic ability is better than Baker. You can argue that because he was drafted in the first round. Dak Prescott though is a product of knowing the plays. Right, he's got the difference between first round and fourth round quarterbacks. I say it all the time. It's arm talent. It's just arm talent. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Dak Prescott throws the most interceptions in the first quarter and the third quarter. Any idea why? That arm needs to get rolling. It's just for 6'4", it's weak. I would put Tim Tebow's arm strength over Dak Prescott's. Maybe not the accuracy, but the arm strength. I think that Jordan Love has a lot of talent. Hopefully we get to see it in a better display. But, I mean, you can't let a team that's trying to get into the playoffs walk in a Lambeau and stomp you by 20. And you can't let that same team or a variation of it, Justin Herbert, walk into Los Angeles last year on a 2-game winning streak and stomp you by 20. I mean, a little bit of that to me is the product of what Mayfield brings. It's the swagger. He loves that stuff. And it's not tangible. But it's what got him to Oklahoma. Texas Tech told me he wasn't going to start.
The arm strength. I mean, Baker's arm is very tangible.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I think obviously his maturity has grown in spades. I think he's like a real leader now. I think he's really one of the good dudes in his locker room. I think that people generally respect him, want to follow him, like playing with him. But I don't ever see him as the guy who's going to just like command the huddle with the utmost, like, you know what, guys, we fucking got this. You know what I mean? Like he's just not that guy at the end of the day because he doesn't have that aura. He has his Baker, Conor McGregory aura, but he doesn't have like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Mahomes go into the pocket down 3 or down 4 with 75 seconds left. We're at the 25. We're gonna go freaking win this shit.
1
Baker
0
doesn't
against
give you
Burrow,
that.
by the way.
Say it again.
He's 1 0 against Burrow.
Oh,
I just know this. I just know the stats on him.
Lamar has lost 2 times to a team in the NFC. Those 2 teams.
It was, and you know what helped? I'll talk about Cleveland and Baltimore real quick. There was a great game. It was very Mickey Ward, Arturo Gotti. You're a boxing fan, right?
Sure.
Oh God, I was hoping you knew the reference. Anyway, go watch the fight on YouTube. It's great. These guys weren't the greatest.
I'm a Hagler Hearns guy.
Huh?
I said I'm a Hagler Hearns first round old clip on YouTube guy.
Okay, it's that, but it's different weight classes and not as skillful. But these guys could really fight. Arturo Gotti, Mickey Ward, one fight of the year in like '95, and it was Lamar Jackson against Baker Mayfield. They were just scoring, and it was the first time I ever watched Lamar Jackson play quarterback ever. Not the first time I've ever watched him. It was the first time he actually played the position. He was going to run the ball. He had the first down. 2 linebackers came up. He had it. All he had to do was slide. And he threw it to Mark Andrews, who picked up 35 yards. And I went, oh my God, he's figuring it out. And if he figures it out, if he can bring those guys up at any time because they're afraid of his legs, now there's a problem. Because he's unstoppable once he figures that out. And they won the game 45-43 or something. Like it was a huge scoring game. But it was at that moment I was like, Lamar, you're gonna make it in this league. I mean, it was a great game to watch. Knockdown, drag out. But anyway, yeah, that's a great top 10. I like your top 10.
Thank you. I got a little bit of my homerism in there, of course, but I think kind of when you break down everything, I mean, like I kind of just think that wherever you kind of have Hurts is stylistically individualized for what you want in your quarterback. Do you want that prototypical big guy with the big arm? Are you okay with more of the dual threat? Do you want that winning intangibility over just about anything else? But like in ways that people say that Jimmy G had the winning intangibility, which I don't think that he does compared to Jalen Hurts.
No.
Jalen Hurts has the talent that outweighs Jimmy G and sort of the presence that makes people believe in Hurts more than somebody like a Jimmy G. And to that, he's like the quintessential quarterback of that sort of winning quarterback prototype, if you will. And that's going to possibly lead him to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. He's got that Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. The statistics are insane. He's on a good team. I think it's the perfect team for him, right? Everybody else is a loudmouth in Philly, right? No, I'm kidding. But he's very quiet, reserved. I don't really believe that A.J. Brown's reading books on the sideline, but I think somebody threw him a book and they were like, listen, don't scream at him. He's trying over here. Everybody else has a mouth and a say, and I think it's nice that he kind of steadies the ship.
The team goes as he goes, and I think that at some point his cliches are so constant and ingrained in who he is that you kind of just have to believe that it's not just posturing anymore. Like when he says every day rent is due, and you're just like, okay, well, what's he supposed to say? He says his fun little things, but no, it's just true with him. Like he wakes up every day and rent is due, and he wakes up every day and works so hard at his craft, and it's redeeming because he knows he's not the most talented guy in the world, but he knows that he can do anything that's asked of him, and he can do it at a high enough level that now is unassailable because he's a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. All right, so wrapping this up real quick, I think I have him just outside of my top 10.
You had him 11.
Huh?
You had him 11.
11. And I can live with that because, I think although he's gotten better, I will need him to pass me into some games, right? I will need the yards to go up, with the arm a little bit better. That's just me. He's a Super Bowl champion. I can't take much more away from him. You have him at 5, I believe.
I have him at 5.
And you know what? The happy medium there is that he still makes the top 10. If you took our middle.
Yeah, no, definitely. And really what it comes down to is, like, obviously he has the ring on his finger, and he has a plethora of really good playoff moments that are nationally televised. They win all the time, right? Except for that stretch of the end of the regular season 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so front facing to common NFL fans all the time. Aside from the Chiefs and the Bills, Ravens, and Cowboys, nobody's really featured as much as the Eagles, and certainly not going forward now that the Eagles are the one winning the championship, right? I mean, Jalen Hurts is the only NFC quarterback who's beaten Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. He's one of 2 NFC quarterbacks, and the other one's Daniel Jones, oddly enough, who have beaten Lamar Jackson ever. He's gone toe-to-toe with Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. He's won one of them. He's in the opposite conference and has beaten Mahomes in more playoff games than Lamar and Josh have, right, in Mahomes' own conference.
Oh, that's a
He
great
has the
point.
same amount of playoff wins against Mahomes as Burrow does, and he plays in the opposite conference. So at some point, his conference dominance. Now I know that he's lost twice to the Bucks in the playoffs, once to Brady, once to Baker, but he has put together great playoff performance after great playoff performance. He's performed on the highest level in 2 Super Bowls. He dropped 55 points in an NFC Championship game. I mean, the resume stacks up. At some point, the resume stacks up. Is the NFL's Jimmy Butler? I don't know. Jimmy Butler doesn't have a ring. Yes.
That's a good. Is he the NFL's Jimmy Butler? Yeah, because Jimmy Butler doesn't start playing until the playoffs. I mean, really, he passes, and sometimes he's an odd character. That's what Jimmy Butler is. All right. Let's see. Before we get off, well, so when are we gonna see you again? Right, because I know you got time off. Guys, give a like and subscribe to Fantasy Farm Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to everything that Liam, you got stuff to post here before your wedding?
Yeah, Philly Sports Network, of course, Metro Philadelphia. I will be here next Thursday if you can roll, and after that I'll be off for a few weeks for my wedding and honeymoon. But I just my two most recent articles published are why you shouldn't take your superstars for granted, and yes, I am as unbiased as I can be when it comes to writing about the Sixers in basketball, but there's a reason why every sports writer and people who cover sports got into the profession. It's because at one point, and probably still somewhere deep down, they love that sport and they love that team. And I do love the Sixers. Now, when they lose, does it affect me that much anymore? No, but I do love them, and I love the people that I care about. So when you see the Damian Lillards and Jason Tatums and Tyrese Halliburton go down with terrible Achilles injuries, when you see Joel Embiid, or when I see Joel Embiid not get back to the heights that he was able to reach after his meniscus injury in January 2024, it just felt like a good time to kind of take a step back and write a different article than I ever have, in a different perspective than I usually do. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And my most recent one was 3 areas of improvement for Tyrese Maxey going into next year. So check those out if it bears any interest to you. If it doesn't, click on the link anyway, and then don't read it. It still helps you out.
Click on his links, guys. It's worth. Not only is it worth the read, it's fantastic writing. I sat there and I think it was a 3 to 5 minute read, and it was informative, but it was fun, and I learned some stuff too. So
I appreciate that. That's what we're here for. I hope to see you next week, and then, like I said, I'll be off for a little bit. Allen Iverson.
There's a Sixer for you, baby. I picked this card up the other day.
Hey, those jerseys are back next year. Oh boy,
dude! I loved Michael Jordan, and then my second love was Allen Iverson. I watched him at Georgetown. He got drafted by Philly. I bought the shoes. Like, I didn't care. I was that kid going, so what? You could take a gun into a jewelry store. I'm not joking. I loved Allen Iverson.
Gotta love him.
All right, man. We'll see you. You're coming on next week. All right, we'll get you one more time. and then you're getting married. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day, but we'll get some more tidings out here next Thursday, right?
Next Thursday sounds good.
All right, guys, join us next Thursday. Jack Stash, Liam Sigarian, PSN Network, guys. We'll see you on